Welcome back to a new video. So I decided I'm not going to do any snatch clean jerk from the floor prior to doing snatch balances. This session should be pretty quick. I've been really slow about getting actually warmed up. I've been out here just playing chess and raging at that and not actually moving, but I just started moving the barbell a little bit. I'm tired from yesterday. It's sore, but it's just like, I know that I'm probably not going to hit the best numbers that I would like to. I would say to kind of put this session as like, or to put what I would think would be a really good session into numbers like I did for the last session. I think if I got up to 130 in the snatch balance, I'd be happy with that. Really, if I hit 120 and that was all I got, I'd be happy with that. So we'll say 120 at a minimum, 130 as like a really good session, and obviously anything more than that would be awesome as well. And then I'm going to do some jerks from the rack. If I do 140, that will be good. I don't think I'm going to really be able to get much more than that. If I get stuck at less, then I'm fine with that. I'll probably take similar jumps as I did yesterday with the block clean and jerks and go 60, 100, 125, 140. And probably honestly stop at 140, maybe do a hold there, and then do some clean pulls after that. I don't know what the clean pulls will be at, but I might push them up a little bit, but they'll still be triples. Maybe at like 170, maybe a little bit more, but I want them to be quick, snappy. Not snappy, I'm not really going to move that fast, but I want them to be relatively easy and move quick and to be triples, and maybe I'll just like bump up each set of 3. I still kind of have that weird hip thing, which as I remember talking about in the last video, I kind of know the culprit. So in my classes, I started scooters, and I've been sitting on a scooter, and if you sit on a scooter and you're moving with just your feet, that's obviously going to use your hip flexors a lot, and that's already probably an area that's already going to be a little bit just sensitive to just, you know, extra hip flexor work. So to me, I think that kind of explained the like kind of like twinging or whatever that I have been experiencing. So I'm trying not to do that as much, but you know, depending on the classes, it does kind of help if you're sitting on there, and it does actually create a lot of buy-in when you're like, I want you to sit like this on a scooter. Look, I'm sitting like this on the scooter, and you know, it is fun to do sometimes, but whatchamacallit. So I think that's why, because it does really work your hip flexors a lot. So if you want good hip flexor work, the knees over toe guy maybe needs to get on the PE elementary scooter train, because that is where it's at. But I'll have to be conscious of that just because, you know, I don't want to hurt myself at work before I come out here, but I'll probably still do it a little bit. I know tomorrow's going to be kind of an interesting day because it's the spring picture day. But like I said, with snatch balances, when I get to 130, do the rack jerks, the pulls, and that will really be about it. I've been not really doing a lot of accessories these days, or this week, I should say. It's partially because I'm out here in the shed, and when I'm out here, there's just not as much stuff that I'm like, all right, I'm going to go do leg extensions. You know, obviously don't have that. The accessories I do out here are pretty basic if I do them, but I think because I'm pushing the intensity as hard as I can this week, then it's not as important to hit a lot of the accessories, and it's more important just to be aggressive with the weights and not even with the volume, and just trying to push it up so the next week gets deloaded, and then, you know, have that hopefully rebound peak. But yeah, it should be a pretty fun, I don't know, fun is really the way to describe snatch balances, but they've been going well. So if I can continue the momentum with them, you know, in a absolute perfect world, I'm going to get up to 140. But I don't think that's going to be a possibility today, because that 137 I did last week after missing 135 was really difficult and took a lot of energy to do. So if I get anywhere near 130, I'll certainly be happy. And then with the jerks, I think I should be able to get to 140. I'm pretty confident about that. And if that 140 feels really good, then I can push a little bit above that. But my wrist just cracked. It's a weird feeling. It's kind of wet in the shed. At least it feels really damp. It's been raining a lot. Thankfully, you know, the actual platform's not wet. It's more so behind me, but it doesn't ever look worse. Like, it doesn't ever look more wet. So thankfully, there's not like a big crazy leak, but I think a lot of it is, if it's humid outside or at this time of the year, if it's a little bit cooler at night and then warms up and there's a lot of moisture in the morning, that just, you know, happens to be in here as well. Because a lot of like the rings will get wet when I'm out here, or at least be wet when I'm out here. So that is something to potentially look at. I mean, in the long term, it's not really that big of a deal, because I mean, it doesn't really impact any, like the bar itself isn't wet. It's just the plates that are lower. So if the barbell actually got wet, then that would actually be a big problem. Obviously, you don't want moisture on the bar, but the plates, they're fine. But let's get training. Let's hit some snatch balances. I procrastinated enough, so let's have a nice quick session. Hopefully, I can do it all in under an hour, but we'll see. Without the 2 exercises before, I certainly will be faster, but I'll talk to you all at the end of the video. Hopefully, only good things to say. Well, that was a phenomenal session. My twinge in the hip, I still kind of have. I'm feeling it in my low back too, so I'm guessing that it's all connected. So that's some work, more work I'm gonna have to continue to do in that area, and really just continue to stretch. I've been really hitting my hip flexors quite a bit, so I may need to start massaging that kind of lower part of my back too. But nothing really flared up terribly. It just was kind of present while I was training. But as you saw, the 140 on the third attempt I was actually able to do. And honestly, I looked at the video and it looked so easy and it was weird. But it was also bizarre because when I did the first rep, I was excited to try it again because of just how solid it felt in my arms. Usually in the past when I have done, or really anytime I've done any heavy overhead stuff, when it gets to like that maximal weight, particularly for a snatch balance or an overhead squat, it starts to, shake and become unstable. But when I did that first 140, I felt like I had it fixated in a strong position and not to say literally lost my balance, like I fell over, but like it drifted forward. But like, I was like, all right, I can feel it. And I like that first one was nerves. The second one, oh, it was so close. I didn't have any room to run forward, so I had to drop it. But that was one where as I came out of the bottom, I pushed it forward a little bit. And as you saw, if I go forward, it's just, it's not going to happen because I don't want to die. It's also not good to run snatch balances forward because it's a strength movement or like an auxiliary movement. It's, whatever. But so I wasn't able to do that. But the last one was super easy, which was really surprising. Obviously, it felt really heavy, but compared to the first two, it felt like I had done, it felt easier than when I did the 130, which is really bizarre, which I guess is partially because I got more hyped up for it. I had already done the same weight a couple times, so like neurologically I was primed, and I kind of had that excitement, like it feels really close. And when I missed that second one, it's like I don't know if I got enough in me to do a third one, but it's like I can't end on one that's that close. So I would have been devastated if I would have ended. I mean, if I would have ended up missing the third one, like that second one would have haunted me for quite a bit because of how close it was. But we're able to get it on the second one, and honestly, it looked better than the last PR, the 137. I was able to hold it up there and stabilize it. It was weird. My wrist strap unwrapped, the Velcro on it popped off. I have their Onyx wrist strap, so kind of disappointed in that. And some of the leather's actually breaking down a little bit. And I always thought that they were more like high quality, that they would last a very long time, but I don't know. They're kind of not enough where I won't wear them, but I definitely am going to be probably working in my other wraps and using those because like the weightlifting house ones I have somewhere, if those still function, those might have broke, but I might have to get some more wrist straps eventually, especially if the Velcro is going to pop off like that, because that's it's not where you want it to pop off when you have a maximal weight above your head, especially because it's supporting your wrist. So if it pops off there, thankfully, I had it stacked well enough, but if it was too far back and that wrist support was actually supporting me and then it pops off and I lose that support and I go back, it's not a good spot to be in, especially with a heavy load. But thankfully it didn't impact me, and that's why with the jerks I put athletic tape on just in case it was just going to keep randomly popping off, just so I had like a backup on it. So that might be a strategy I employ. It's not the most comfortable thing to have athletic tape on, and it kind of loosens up really quick, but at least like subconsciously it feels like you have more support, even though I don't think the athletic tape is going to do much at all. And like I said, it loosens pretty quick because of the sweat and stuff underneath. But the jerks, I just did it, as you saw, the 70, 110, 140. It's definitely happy with the 140. It didn't feel super easy, but it also felt, I would say it felt about the same as the 130 in the session did the last week. And I was definitely, like, I don't think I had too much more, but I was definitely happy with it. My split wasn't as good as I would have liked. It was a little bit too across my body, but definitely happy that I had the confidence, and I felt more aggressive with my dip drive, which always makes my jerks feel so much better. And it's just hard to do when it's just feels really heavy to just kind of yeet it. But I kind of had that general aggressiveness, which was nice. And the pulls, as you saw, just routine pulls. I felt it in my back a little bit, which was a little bit concerning, kind of in the spot that I mentioned in that back bottom right. But nothing that got progressively worse, but just something to keep an eye on. But I got up to that 230 for a triple to kind of keep the theme of working to heavier maximal weights. There's not really, especially for, I would say, particularly for pulls, there's not a huge purpose for me to, try a 300 kilo deadlift or something like that this week. But to do that for a triple with the shoes on, trying to maintain a clean, or the clean technique for the clean, with my hips a little bit lower, is going to just be better in general for me to do, and less strain or less neurological breakdown, or less need to recover for the next session, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I'm definitely happy with that, but I'm going to go in and get some protein and work on my back a bit. It's interesting because I don't want to keep having those hip twinges because they're not comfortable to have. So I'll work on that, do some mobility, and get some protons in. But I'm geeked. I can't believe I actually did the 140. I honestly thought that was just going to be I honestly thought 130 was going to be I might fail it 3 times and be annoyed at myself. But I didn't think I would be able to take the crazy jumps I did on the snatch balances, just the 3 to get to 130, and then to be able to do 140, even though, it took me 2 times, but, third time's a charm, I suppose. And especially that second one, that one was super close. So obviously it would have been nice to get it on the second one, but the fact that, I came back on the third and had enough strength and stamina to do it is really good as well. But with that being said, I'm going to wrap this video up, go and get some food, hopefully get some editing and mobility and all that good stuff done before I get to bed. But that's it for this one. Talk to you all in the next video. Have a great day. Peace.